Well, hello everyone, TheOntarioGardener here, back with another Plan B terraforming tutorial. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about level 1 to level 3 hub setup or mall setup. It's pretty simple. The first ones just use extractors and depots, use steel bars. Then we start moving mechanical parts for factories and assembly plants, and all this can be done in a very compact way, and that's going to be showing you today. So when you start off, you obviously don't have as many buildings or items that I have here, but eventually you can build up to these little by little. But the first thing that I would do is you find yourself a nice ore patch and you just run your depots up like this, right? And then you can surround these as much as you want. Obviously we can't go 2 yet. Once you get the MK2 ones, this is a bit easier because you can run on 2 different sides and have these every other one. And you're going to come down to here and you always have to filter into the same area, but you want to filter something like this, in my opinion, because then you can come in here with your factories and you can put 3 factories in. You 1, 2, 3, just like that. And that works pretty good. And then you want to come down here with your depot, and that's going to be making steel bars. And then you want to jump into here because when you're using the Mark 1 or the Tier 1, Mark 1 depots, they only come with 1 drone. So you have to be careful on where you put them, because if you just have 1 filtering this, it's only 1 drone. But here you have 3 drones filtering into 3 ones, and then this one can obviously go to each one of them. And the depots are the same way when they're coming out. You want to have this going to 3 different ones because you have 3 different drones. So you're making your steel bars, right? And that sounds great. Okay, so well, we need to make extractors and we need to make depots. Well, you do that in an assembly plant. So you're basically going to be putting one off to the side here, and you're going to be choosing extractors, and you're going to put one off to this side here, which you're not going to choose extractors, you're going to choose depots. And each of these things take steel bars, and they'll be pulling them from either side of this. Now, I'm going to let this run a little bit, because what we're going to end up doing from this is these will run as, let's just speed up a bit. These will run as normal as they bring in steel bars, and they'll run passively, of course. But then from here, you're like, okay, well, the next step is you have to start doing things like, let's get to step 2 or level 2, mechanical parts, factories, and assembly plants. Which assembly plants and factories both take mechanical parts exclusively. They don't take steel beams. You're like, okay, well, that sounds great. It does sound great because we can go into our factory, and factories make mechanical parts. We can put 2 here. So these will filter into these as needed. They will filter into this as needed as well. And then from here, we're going to put down mechanical parts. Both of these will filter into this. And then from here, 2 more assembly plants. One is going to be making factories, and then the other one is going to be making assembly plants. And there you go. It is just that simple, guys. And then from here, like again, I'm up to level 3 on this particular save because we're at this level of saves. Once you hit level 3, you're going to also need trucks, which will need mechanical parts. So guess what? We have mechanical parts here. Place another assembly plant down. Oops, excuse me. And we're going to be making trucks right there. So from one basic setup, and you can see here that these will obviously fill in first because it only has one to jump. But once you hit here, and you can expand this out. You can put another line of these going this way, another line of these going this way, however you see fit. But this is a very passive, very compact, basic starter base. And these will make things as needed. In the beginning, you're not going to need to make trucks, so this can actually be, you could actually delete this and put this in another time. But again, this is where it would go in this setup. And because your buildings or your placeable items don't require, like they get put into your so-called inventory automatically, they don't require a depot or any sort of storage chest. Now, I do hope at some point you can limit the amount of things that they make either through this menu or having them go into storage boxes, and you can limit them kind of like Factorio or Satisfactory does, because otherwise what will happen is this will run indefinitely until all of this ore is exhausted. But you know what? If you open up your map view here, and you go and you say you stick this all the way over here somewhere out of the way and just let it run, and that's what it will do, and it'll be just fine with that. Now the next one we're going to get into is going to be, well, go back to here, not these 2. We're going to be getting into doing roads. Road stops no longer are made, like they're just placed. So we have roads, concrete roads, and then we also have supply centers which also run off of concrete. So it'll basically be the same type of setup here. Click on this, we'll do sulfur because sulfur makes concrete, funny enough. Then we have a bunch of extractors and run this the same way as we did the ore. Place it like this basically. And then from here, we're going to go into 2 more like this, like that, because you want to have this kind of pattern like this. We're going to go into factories. We're going to be making concrete, and then we can just run 3 factories, of course, off of this Oh, excuse me. This one has to go here, and then this one's going to go here, like that. They're going to run concrete off of this, and then from this, we can go into making what? We can go into making our roads, and we can also go into making our supply centers. And then eventually it'll be reinforced concrete, but not yet. So we have another, not a factory, excuse me. We're going to go into assembly plant, which will go into, actually we have to put down these here. This is going to be for concrete, of course. So this is basically the same setup as we had from the other thing before. This one here is going to be making supply centers. And now again, supply centers, you don't need very many supply centers at all. Oh, not trucks, wrong button. We're going to be making roads. So what I would do in this regard is supply centers. Oh, so I clicked the wrong one again, sorry. Supply centers need concrete, but again, in the beginning, you're only going to be needing one supply center, and if you want to branch out to all 3 of your cities, you'll make 3. So what I would recommend is when this is finished making 3 of these, which we say we have 5 already, is I would turn this right around and turn it right back into making roads. And to further that, you can actually put a 3rd one down to make roads. Again, this will only work as if this is being satisfied, but one of these can satisfy one of these, and you can see how this is filled up with concrete. It's filled because you can look at the icons here. So this is waiting, has icons here with concrete, and it produces 4 road pieces. And if you go over to our road thing here, it'll be making basically 4 roads every, I don't know, a couple seconds, depending on your speed. If you want to really speed this up, especially early game, to get all your roads made, and then you're going to come down to here where we have our iron area being made. Again, you can make this go as fast as you want, and just in the beginning, there's no risk of having any issues with population. So this is how I would run. I'd set this up somewhere where you're not planning on building, let this run and just let it build up everything. And you could even cover this whole ore patch if you want, and just let everything run. And then once you're getting to a certain amount of what you want, you come back here, either you change it to something else or you delete it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This is a quick little video on how to set up your level 1 to 3 starter hubs, starter malls, if you will. These are very, very passive. You set it up one time, and you don't have to touch it until your ore patch is exhausted or your extractors are exhausted. Like I said, pick an ore patch that's way out in the middle of nowhere, like somewhere over here. You have a huge ore patch over here, and just set up tons of these machines. Let them run to get everything you need. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time when we get into more advanced tutorials. Take care now.